Good morning and welcome to the 14th Maths with Miss live in London. I am very sorry to say that actually I'm not live and I'm actually recording this. You can probably tell it's a little bit dark in the evening, so apologies for that, but I promise you I can absolutely guarantee that I will be live for our final summer special on Friday. So please join me for that summer special on Friday. And Rose is pulling off a fabulous maths trick, card trick. So remember on Friday, if you can, please make sure you've got a pack of playing cards with you. I'm not quite sure what she's doing there. Take a seat for me. All right, so Monday's takeaway challenge. Let me just remind you. There it is now. If you've not had a chance to look at this, then please pause it now and have a go. You may recall I did say it was tricky and you got a little bit of a clue. You got a little bit of a clue on Monday. And I also mentioned, as Rose has just said, that you can use a calculator to help you. And now for the solution. Okay, I think the first number we had filled in, okay, because we said the number was in the 10 times table, and therefore this digit here had to be 0, okay? So we did the first one. That was fairly straightforward. Now it gets a little bit harder. So what we want to do is, by a process of elimination, see which ones of these we can ignore. So, well, everything's divisible by 1. I think I mentioned that on Monday as well, so we can get rid of that one. Now remember that 2 and 5 are both factors of 10. Well, we've already established it's in the 10 times table. So if it's in the 10 times table, it must be in the 2 times table and the 5 times table, so we can get rid of those.
But what about,
okay?
The 8, if it's in the 2 and the 4.
Well, one moment, we're going to come on to that. We're going to come on to that. So let's see what we're left with. Okay, maybe if we could remember the rule about the 9 times table. Okay, if we remember the rule about the 9 times table, if the numbers
add up to
sum to
9,
a multiple of 9, then it is in the 9 times table.
like
okay,
18 on an 8.
So let's have a look and see what we've got. We've got 3 plus 7 plus 6 plus 4, well, plus 0. So at the moment, we've got 20. So to be in the 9 times table, it needs to be 27. 3 times 9 is 27. Or it could be 36. Rose is saying 18. 2 times 9 is 18, but we've already got 20. So it can't be that. And then maybe it could be 5 lots of 9, which is 45. Let's see. Well, maybe it can't be that, because we've only got 2 more numbers here. The biggest 2 numbers we could have would be 9 and 9. Okay, so 18 plus 20 would give us 38. So we can get rid of 45. We can't get a number big enough that it would sum to 45. So either the digits are going to sum to 27, or they're going to sum to 36. Okay, so that's what we're going to work with now. So we want, to this 20, we either need to add 7. So we've got 20, we've got to either add 7 to get to 27, or we've got to add 16, okay? So it's going to take a little bit of time, and you're going to have to just bear with me on this, and I'll fast forward it a little bit if I can. So what we're saying here is these 2 missing numbers here, to get to 7, they could be 0 and 7, 1 and 6, 2 and 5, 3 and 4. Do you get the idea?
Mm-hmm.
All the way down
2,
7 and 0. So there's quite a lot of different numbers we've got to check there. But all of those would be divisible by 9. Okay? And then we're going to look at getting 2 numbers that sum to 16. So we could have 9 and 7, 8 and 8, or 7 and 9. So all of those numbers, when you add them together, they sum to 7. And these numbers, when you sum the 9 and 7, you get 16. 8 and 8 is 16, etc. Okay, so we've now got a load of different possible solutions. Only one of them is correct, okay? But all of those satisfy that it's in the 9 times table. So I can tick off my 9, and because 3 is a factor of 9, I can also tick off my 3, okay? So what you could do, and I did say you could use a calculator, you could just type all these in to your calculator and see if they're divisible by the remaining numbers, all right? But we're going to fast forward again a little bit because of the time, and we're going to look at what is divisible by 7. Now, the reason I've picked 7 is because we've already eliminated 2 and 3. So that really probably means that I can eliminate 6 as well, because we've done 2 and 3 and 9 and 10. Okay, so let's have a look at 7. We know that 7 is a prime number. Let's see where we can go with that. So if we substituted all these numbers in one at a time and then divided by 7, you would find that none of these work. And you're just going to have to take my word for it on that, because I haven't got time to go through them all individually. So they are not divisible by 7. And then if I do the same here, I've only got one, which is that one, that is divisible by 7. And those two aren't. So then the only thing I just need to finally check is whether or not it is also divisible by 11, okay? And it is. So I'm just going to fast forward to the end now. So that is going to be 9, 7. That is your solution. And I'm also just going to hold this up. Maybe I'll see if I can put it on the Facebook page. Some of these are a little bit mind-blowing. We said use a calculator and you can check, use a bit of trial and error. But we have got these incredibly, can you read that? Hold on, let me put it up like this. Really comprehensive divisibility rules here. And it tells you, I'm going to read them out for you, but it might blow your mind a little bit. So for 7, to check whether or not a number is divisible by 7, it says you multiply the last digit by 2. Then you subtract it from the rest of the number. And if the result, including the 0, is divisible by 7, the number is also divisible by 7, okay? And there's a little explanation on there as well, all right? So, and then there's one for the 11 times table as well, where you have to take the sum of all the even numbers and the sum of all the odd numbers, and then you have to subtract the sum of the digits in the even number places from the sum of the digits in the odd number places. And then if the result is divisible by 11, then the number is also divisible by 11. So there you go. I don't know if you can read that. As I say, I'll try and pop it on the Facebook page. So very comprehensive and a little bit mind-blowing, particularly halfway through, not even halfway, past halfway through your summer holidays. But there you go. That is the solution to Monday's takeaway challenge. Now, I know this isn't live, and apologies for that, but I promise, as I say, we will be live on Friday. But however, I do have a few quick shout outs. So I would like to say good morning to Samuel, to Oscar, to Eve, to Sebi, to Callum, to Ibrahim, to Olivia. Good morning to Billy, to Luke, to Ada and Chloe, to Jathajan, Bonnie, Jessie, Matada, Arib and Sasha. And obviously, good morning to Rose as well. We'll say a quick good morning to her. Okay, so I think it's time for your 30 questions. Let's hope you've got that brain, you've got your pens, you've got your paper, you're ready to go. Let's have a bit of music. Let's not. Try again. Here's part 1. 30 seconds to go. Part 2 coming up. Thirty seconds remaining. Part 3. Seconds remaining. Okay, your time is up. Let's start with the answers to part 1. I think Rose has run off with my pointy stick, so we'll have to make do without it. Question 1 is 91. Question 2 is 74. Question 3 is 26. Question 4 is 36. Question 5 is 30. Question 6 is 20. Question 7 is 4. Question 8 is 3,388. Question 9 is 636. And question 10 is 94,368. Moving on to part 2. Question 1 is 39. Question 2 is 6. Question 3 is 130. Question 4 is 20. Question 5 is 0.3. Question 6 is 9. Question 7 is 0.007577. Question 8 is 24. Question 9 is 0.356. And Rose has kindly just returned my pointy stick. Question 10. There it is. Question 10 is 10. All right, part 3. Question 1 is 6. Question 2 is 9. Question 3 is 7:26 p.m. Question 4 is 75 minutes. Question 5 is 6. Question 6 is 3. Question 7 is 6. Question 8 is -18. Question 9 is 40. And question 10 is 41.6. I'm just going to do something to see. Can you move back? See if you can see what I'm having to deal with. Look at this. I'm trying to teach, and some cheeky girl keeps poking through the gaps.
I just wanted to
I'm trying my best to not get. I'm really trying not to get distracted. You can imagine it is quite a challenge. Right, okay. So if you could pop your scores in the chat for me, please. Although I am not live tomorrow, I will be checking the chat. So I want to see those scores. I still want to see those scores, even though I am not live, please. All right. And now for your first challenge question. Bit of music. Right, how are you getting on? I'm not going to give you the full answer yet, but I am going to give you a couple of clues. Remember, you can pause it if you need more time. So I've just put the key information here up on the board. 3/10 of the roses are red, 7/10 are white. Now I'm going to work in percentages this time. So I'm going to convert that. So that's 30 over 100 or 30% red. 7 over 10, which is 70 over 100, 70%, or 70% are white. Okay, so that might help you. That's one little clue. The other thing that I'm going to say, well, you've got two things that you can do actually. One is sometimes you can work backwards, maybe work backwards from the 1 to 1, see if that helps. And the other thing that I'm also going to show you in a moment, but I'm going to give you a bit more time first, is this is a perfect question for bar modeling. So I'm going to have a little look at how to solve this using bar modeling. But I'm going to give you another little bit more time. As I say, pause it if you need more time. And then I'll be coming back shortly with the solution. Okay, pause if you need more time. Let's have a look at the solution. So, I said one of the options you could do is to work backwards a little bit. So we know that at the end, there were 121. Let's tick that off. We've used that piece of information. We know that Harry buys 17 more. So before there was 121, there must have been 17 less. So we can subtract the 17 that Harry bought, and that is going to give us 104 roses. Okay, let's pause for a moment and see what happens next. Half, or 50%, of the white roses have been given away. So instead of having 70% that are white, we've given half away. So now that is 35%, because we've given half of them away.
Oh, I thought it meant give away because it's 70%. So now you have 20% left.
No, because it's half. 50% is just another way of saying half. It's a good question. So you're not subtracting 50%, you're subtracting, well, you are, but it's not 70 subtract 50. It's half of 70, which is 35. It's a good question, Rose. Okay, so 104 roses represents the 30% that are red and the 35% that are white. So now, remember, we're trying to get back to the original amount. We're trying to get back to the 100%. We don't know what 100% is yet, but we do know what 65% is. So 30 plus 35. So 65% of our flowers is 104. Okay? All right, now it's still a little bit tricky because we've got to get to 100%. So I'm going to divide by 13, because if I divide by 13, I'm going to get 5% here. Can you see that? And then I'm going to multiply by 20 to get 100%. Remember, what I do to this side, I need to do to this side as well. So if I divide 104 by 13, that is going to give me 8. Okay? And now, if I multiply 8 by 20, I'm going to get 160. So the original amount of flowers that we started with, the 100%, is 160. If you need more time to digest that, then pause it now, because I'm about to rub it off so I can show you using bar modeling. Okay? So pause, or let me do the bar modeling explanation. Let's take it back all the way to the start. So we've not done any calculations yet. Get rid of our ticks. Okay. So 30%, or 3 out of 10 of our roses are red. But we don't know how many we've got. So if we're using a bar, well, we do know because we've worked out the answer, but we're starting again. All right, so we're using a bar model. Okay, that's rubbish. They're meant to be equally sized. So let me just make that a little bit neater. Okay, so those are my 3 bars to represent my red roses. I'm now going to do the same for white. Remember, I've now got 7 out of 10 for my white. Let's try and draw them a bit neater. Okay.
But why are there more for white than there are for red?
That's what the question says. The information's in the question at the start. So we've got 3 red.
Because you've got 17.
And I can write that using a little bit of algebra, because remember, I don't know how many flowers goes in each of these boxes. Okay, so I'm going to use, remember we use a letter to represent a number when we're not quite sure what the number is. I now know, right, going back to this, can you see that? I'm going to give 50% of them away. I'm getting rid of half of them, half of the white flowers. So I'm going to get rid of that, and that, and that, and half of that one, okay? So I'm left with 3x here. Let's write it out. And here, I can actually rub this out now to make it easier to see. Can we see that? We're actually left with 3.5x, okay? And that is how many flowers we've got after we give 50% of the white ones away. But now, Harry buys 17 more red ones. So I don't know how big to make this box because I don't know what my X is, but I do know that I'm adding on 17. I'm adding on 17, so I can tick that bit. And it tells me the next bit of the question is that all of that equals 121. So this bit here plus this bit here equals 121. This bit here, so that equals 121. Or, showing it on a bar model, that equals 121. So now we can use a bit of algebra and we can form and solve our equation. So let's write it up here. So we've got 6.5x, 6.5x, and we're adding 17, and that gives me 121. Okay, remember I'll use that now. Okay, I'm going to subtract 17 from both sides. So now 6.5x equals 104. You might recall we didn't have 6.5 before, we used 65%. Okay. Whew, that's hard, isn't it? So maybe I'll double. You know, I can multiply both sides of my equation using the balancing method and it stays the same. It doesn't change the solution. But that might make it a little bit easier. So x is 208 divided by 13. 208 divided by 13. I definitely can't do that in my head this late on a Tuesday night. Okay, so x is 16. So all of these boxes now, if you wanted to, you could replace these with 16. I'm not going to do it for all of them, but you get the idea. Because I don't actually have to change it all here, because all I need to know, remember, is the total number of flowers we had to start with. Okay, if we rewind, if you rewound the tape to when I first drew this out, you'll remember I had 3 boxes here and 7 boxes here. I had 10x, didn't I, representing all of my flowers. So if x is 16, then 10x, which was the total number of the flowers, is 160. Now we can check that that's right and that I'm not making it up. I've got 16 plus 16 plus 16 plus 17. And then here, actually let's write them in. 16 plus 16 plus 16 plus 8. But remember at the start, we've got that other half as well. So 10x.
Like the line is a mirror.
1 second, darling. 10x. If x is 16, then 10x, the original bar model, is 160. Okay, hope that makes sense. Right, gosh, let's put up challenge question 2. A little bit of music. Okay, pause it if you need more time. I'm going to go through the solution with you now. Okay, if you need more time, let me know. So I'm going to need to borrow the question because I've not had time to write it all up yet. All right, so at first I used half of my 3 litres for my first coat. I'm going to write that down. So if I've used half of 3 litres, okay, I've used 1.5 litres, and I've got, I don't know what I need yet, but I'm just going to write it down. I've got 1.5 litres left, okay? So I've used half, I've got half left, all right? Makes sense? All right, it's the next part of the question. I then used 2/3 of what was left. So this is the column that we need. 2/3 of what was left to complete the second coat. Okay, so we've done our first coat. We're now going to do our second coat. And let's write it down again. 2/3 of what was left. What was left was 1.5 litres. Okay. All right. So this is how much I used. Again, it's important to make sure we don't get our amount used and our amount left muddled up. Okay. So 2/3 of 1.5. I can write that as a multiplication. I can write 1/2 as an improper fraction as 3/2. And that is going to give me 6/6, which is 1 litre. Now, some of you might just be able to look at that and say 2/3 of 1.5. If I had, let's see, a whole pizza and half a pizza, okay? There's my 1.5, 1.5. 2/3 of that would just be 1 whole. So you might just visually be able to see that 2/3 of 1.5 is 1. Okay, and that's how much we used for our second coat.
So you have 0?
Well, we started with 3 litres. Okay, we used 1.5 litres on our first coat. We used 1 litre on our second coat. So we've got, well done. So we've got 3. We're subtracting 2.5. We're left with 1/2 litre. Not quite the end of the question, although this is multiple choice. So you would know that you'd forgotten to do the very last bit. We have to now convert into milliliters. So we know that there are 1,000 milliliters in a litre. Therefore, we need to multiply 1/2 by 1,000 to give us 500 milliliters. Okay, little bit, oh, I didn't write the number up, a little bit easier than challenge question 1, I think you'll agree. Okay, good. Let's do our dingbats. There you go, first one coming up. Close, it's close, it's close. Pause if you need more time. Rose is very, very close. Say what you said, Rose.
Illuminator.
Yeah, nearly. So D.
Leprechaun.
What's that?
A leprechaun.
Oh, it's not a leprechaun.
Elf.
It's a gnome.
It's a gnome.
D.
Gnome.
In.
8.
Or.
Denominator.
Say it again.
Denominator.
Denominator. Okay, second one. Denominator. Okay. Second one coming up. pause it if you need more time. Right, if you know what it is, Rose, shout it out.
Whole number.
Whole number. Or
Holes in the number.
Holes in the numbers, whole number. Okay, well, once again, apologies that I've not been able to be live today, but I promise you 1,000,000% that I will be live on Friday with Rose helping out. And we've been practicing, trust me, we've been practicing. We have the most, in fact, we've got 2 amazing card tricks coming up on Friday as our grand finale to finish off our summer specials. Yeah, we need all of you, please, 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 to watch us on Friday. I'm really looking forward to it, although I'm a little bit sad that it will be our last one. But I'm also going to talk to you a little bit on Friday about my new proposal, which is called the Parent Partnership. So I'm going to be still doing some lessons, but it's to support parents, because I know as a parent, sometimes my kids come home and they ask for help and I can't help them. I haven't got a clue what they're talking about, because when I went to school, things were taught very differently. So I'm going to start doing some lessons which are going to help parents. If there's things that they don't understand, maybe some terminology they've not come across, then hopefully we can build up our own understanding. In that way, we can help these cheeky monkeys along the way. Anyway, here is your takeaway challenge. And for one last time, I will see you on Friday. Thank you. Thank you and see you Friday.